All right. Good evening, everyone, and
Bien, buenas
welcome to,
noches a todos y
oh,
bienvenidos.
welcome to the Beyond Access series. Sorry, folks. I got stuck on a technical issue. But good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Beyond Access series session. We're excited to have Jonathan Santiago back for our final session on transition, and joining us from Include NYC are some amazing folks, Jane Heafy and Ebony Ines. Did I say that right? Did I pronounce folks' name right?
Ines.
Ines, thank you. But before we hop into the presentation, just wanted to thanks everyone for joining for our first session that's starting at 7 o'clock. Thanks to your feedback. And as you've seen in our emails, we're shifting Beyond Access from 7:30 to 7 o'clock. And so we just want to appreciate everyone who joined for this time. Everything else is staying the same. Same great host, same great team in the background, and we'll still be recording and still be uploading them the next following day. So if you can't make it at 7 o'clock, we'll be able to see the sessions afterwards. Tonight, as we do every single night, you all have the ability to ask your questions using the Q&A function. So throughout the presentation, please feel free to type your questions. Our guests will answer questions as they can while they're presenting. But as always, we have some time set aside towards the end of the presentation to answer as many questions as we can live. Like I said, we're recording, and so we will be uploading the recording tomorrow, and you'll get an email from us with all that information. So with all that said and done, just a reminder to our presenters, as our interpreter said, please remember to speak a little slower than you normally would to help our interpreters keep up with the pace. So thank you again, and without any further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Jonathan.
Great, thank you so much, Jose, and thank you for the reminder of talking slow. I'm actually a very fast talker, so I'm going to try to make sure that I am talking as slow as possible. So first of all, thank you so much to Jose and Kim Ramones and the leadership team for inviting TCAC to be able to be part of this series. Also, a huge thank you to our partners from Include NYC, which I'll be introducing a little later during the presentation. Thank you for them for joining us today. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen, and we are going to get started on this wonderful presentation. Okay, so we're going to get started. So Beyond Access, Transition and College Access Centers, and Include NYC presentation today. Thank you for joining. So just really quick, a little bit about our Transition and College Access Centers mission and vision statement. The Transition and College Access Centers support schools and families by facilitating a seamless transition for students from school to adult life. All students are provided with experiences that foster their academic, social, emotional, and vocational growth and excellence, facilitating multiple pathways to graduation and success after high school. So our goals and our work. So what are the TCACs, the Transition and College Access Centers? What are our goals and what do we do? So we provide work-based learning and other vocational opportunities by working with community-based organizations, CBOs, schools, and local businesses. We also provide access to college and career learning experiences that will support attainment or graduation, diploma requirements, and credential options for students. We train school staff on the administration of age-appropriate transition assessments to inform student-centered transition planning. We also engage families in a transition planning process through family-centered workshops and information sessions. And we also develop and lead ongoing professional development for staff in the area of college and career readiness and transition planning services. So who are our stakeholders, and who do we serve at the TCACs? So we service first and foremost students, right? That's why students are at the top of this picture. And we service families, educators, school staff, community-based organizations, business entities, post-secondary institutions. And again, it always comes back to the students. So these are the stakeholders that we do service on a daily basis. So a quick question, what is transition? And I know we have talked about this within the last couple of weeks, but just as a quick little refresher, transition is a goal-driven process that is put in place to support students with disabilities as they prepare for life after high school. It includes specific activities and supports which are focused on continuing or adult education, vocational training, employment, independent living, and community participation. So I just wanted to just review real quick because it is aligned to our presentation today about IDEA versus ADA, which is IDEA is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act. So just as a refresher, this ensures that all children with disabilities have available to them a free and appropriate public education that emphasizes special education and related services designed to meet their unique needs and prepare them for further education, employment, and independent living. The phrase further education and the emphasis on effective transition services is new in IDEA in 2004. So this describes the need to provide effective transition services to promote successful post-school employment and or education. So students with disabilities are entitled to the above noted supports and services up until they graduate high school or turn 21. And again, I know that this is a lot of information which we are providing today. And again, we are very happy to answer any questions afterwards or to after the presentation or after tonight, we at the TCAC throughout the 5 boroughs can answer any follow-up questions. And also I wanted to just mention the Americans with Disabilities Act, which ensures that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else, prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, school, and transportation, guarantees equal opportunity for individuals with disabilities in public accommodations, employment, transportation, state and local government services, and telecommunications. So our main topic regarding transition today is services or adult linkages, right? Agencies that do support students with or peoples with disabilities. So OPWDD is an organization that provides services to New Yorkers with developmental disabilities, including intellectual disabilities, cerebral palsy, autism spectrum disorder, Down syndrome, and other neurological impairments. It helps individuals with developmental disabilities live in the home of their choice, find employment, and make meaningful community connections and engage in activities of their choice. And services include Medicaid-funded long-term care services, family support services, and employment support services. OPWDD-based services, each service is focused on giving participants the personal, social, and vocational supports that are needed to live in their community. So we have community habilitation services, which provides individuals who do not reside in a residence, which is certified or operated by OPWDD, including one's home. Day habilitation services provided to an individual regardless of his or her living environment and regularly take place in a non-residential setting. And we have pre-vocational services, which addresses the individual's vocational interest. OPWDD also, which we do have a great partnership with them at TCAC. They provide front door services, which rest on the philosophy of self-determination and the idea that people with developmental disabilities have the right to enjoy more meaningful relationships with family, friends, and others in their lives, experience personal growth, fully participate in their communities, and live in the home of their choice. And another agency that I did want to discuss today is Adult Career and Continuing Education Services, Vocational Rehabilitation, or Access VR, which I know a couple of us are very familiar with. And so Access VR promotes the belief that all individuals, regardless of the type of disability, can benefit from vocational rehabilitation programs. It administers vocational rehabilitation and independent living programs. It also provides a wide array of services to assist eligible individuals with disabilities in obtaining employment. It provides services to students beginning up to 2 years prior to exiting high school. It provides individual consultation, recommendations, and training to assist with maintaining a job. And it provides information and support to employers. Also, it has career counseling and guidance, rehabilitation assistive technology, training at a vocational school, community college, or on the job, supported employment, job placement, and job retention as well. And something that I did also want to mention is that the TCACs, we did receive a grant from New York State, a 5-year grant to provide pre-employment transition services, or PREETs. So we at TCAC provide pre-employment transition services to eligible students with disabilities as they prepare for life after high school. PREETs focuses on services that support students in developing independent living and career readiness skills through a variety of experiences, including job exploration, work-based learning, counseling on post-secondary options, workplace readiness, training, and instruction in self-advocacy. So who is eligible? NYC students with an IEP or 504 plan between the ages of 14 through 21. And how can a student apply? This first step in the process is to complete the intake form for Access VR to determine eligibility, or you can contact any of your borough TCACs, and we will be happy to also share information regarding the PREET services that we provide, as well as our partners at OPWDD and Access VR. So just as a quick refresher, these are our offices throughout the 5 boroughs. In the Bronx, we are located at DeWitt Clinton High School. In Brooklyn, at Boys and Girls High School. Manhattan, we are located at 269 West 35th, 35th and 8th. Queens Transition College Access Center on Sutphin Boulevard, and Staten Island at the Michael J. Patrides Educational Complex. I know that a lot of the information that I gave you a lot of information, and so please do contact any of the borough TCACs if you have any follow-up questions. We do have partnerships with a lot of different organizations, but one of the partnerships that we do value is our partners that include NYC. And so I want us to thank them for joining us today. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our friends from Include NYC, Ebony. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And Ebony, I am going to pass it on to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And many thanks to you, Jonathan, and the DOE for inviting us this evening. Good evening to everyone that is here, and thank you for having Include NYC. My name is Ebony A. Innes. I am the Director of Youth and Transition Services at Include NYC. It is my pleasure to represent our organization and share with you about Include NYC and the services we provide to support young people with disabilities transitioning into adulthood. So who are we? Include NYC is a nonprofit organization that is the leading source of training and information in New York City for young people ages 0 to 26 with known or suspected disabilities, their parents, and the professionals who support them. We were founded in 1983, and we believe that every young person should be fully included in school, in the workforce, and in the community. We also believe that they should all have access to resources, services, and the supports to succeed. And what is it that we do? Well, through the following services that you see here on this slide and supports, we engage our youth, their families, and the professionals who support them. And this is all at no cost. Yes, that is free. It is all free to you. With our helpline, workshops, family engagement, and youth programs, news, information, and events, Include NYC provides support for early childhood, school-age children and youth, which includes high school and up to the age of 26. For my time with you tonight, I will be highlighting Include NYC through our youth and transition services. When it comes to our helpline, we provide one-to-one in-depth direct assistance and referral information from specialists to callers. We have parents who call on a variety of special education topics. Remember, we don't just work with youth who are transitioning. We cover early childhood up through age 26. So we have parents that may call regarding early intervention, busing, navigating the IEP process, among many other topics. Here, I'm sharing with you some of the topics that come up most often when we are receiving calls related to youth and transition. Typically, it is a parent or professional that is calling on our helpline, but I do want to remind everybody here this evening that our line is open to young people age 14 to 26, high school up to age 26. They're welcome to call as well for assistance. And our workshops. We have highly trained staff at Include who offer workshops citywide covering a host of special education related content. Our transition workshops are designed to meet the most pressing needs of families of young people with disabilities who are preparing to leave high school or who may have already left high school and will begin life as an adult. The workshops that you see listed here are our most requested, but in addition to these, we also cover overviews of navigating OPWDD through transition, which you heard Jonathan reference, and working while receiving SSI. We have a wide array of online resources available that help to further inform about transition, college, and work preparedness for young people with disabilities. You can find these resources online. We have information available in the form of tip sheets, videos, and useful links. These are all accessible via our website through the Get Help or Get Involved tabs that if you visit our website, you'll see is at the top of the screen. You have access to this whether you are a parent, professional, or a young person. I want to share with you this evening a few samples of tip sheets that we have. I know the print is very small, but please know you will receive after the presentation and the follow-up email that was mentioned, you will receive a list of links. It will include the links to the tip sheets I'm sharing here with you this evening. The first one I wanted to share with you, these are all good for reference. This one is our disability laws, high school versus post-secondary school. And this tip sheet helps readers know the rights of a student with a disability while they're in high school, as well as their rights, what they become once they transition out. The key difference here is to be aware that once a young person finishes high school or an alternative educational program, the responsibilities shift to the young person to continue or begin receiving services and supports related to their disability. In other words, once a young person is out of high school, it is no longer the responsibility of the school or the district to automatically provide services and supports to them related to their disability. It is up to the young person to actually actively request these supports and services. Another one of our tip sheets that you will likely find very useful in regard to transition is our transition timeline. And this is a resource that provides guidance to adults in supporting young people from as early as age 12 to have a positive transition out of high school. And it really sets a foundation for greater success. It's broken down by age groups. There are specific suggested actions that you as the reader, and even as a young person reading this, can be sure to take. For example, we share that at the age of 14, a young person is supposed to be invited to their IEP meeting and should be encouraged to attend and participate in the discussion. This is a huge part and a huge step in the way of having a successful transition out of high school as a young person, to be a part of that conversation. We also make the suggestion of, in the age group of 12 to 14, that you want to find ways to expose a young person to as many careers as you can to help them in gaining a sense of what it is that they may want to pursue for themselves in their adult life. And then once identifying that, or exposing them to different options, then trying to be thoughtful about the activities that you are having the young person get involved with, so that if possible, you can have those activities be something that really connects to or supports what their career interests may be. And those are just a few examples. The sheet spans from age 12 up until after the age of 18 and notes all of the key steps that you can take to help with transition over the course of those years. And lastly, I want to share with you our college accommodations for students with disabilities tip sheet. And this one provides information on how a young person applies for accommodations in college and shares examples of types of accommodations that can be requested. Again, you will receive a follow-up document in the email to come tomorrow that will include links directly to these sheets that I have shared with you this evening, as well as a link to our website where you were able to find many more resources like this. So Youth and Transition Services. You've heard an overview of the organization and information we provide around transition. Now we can discuss the programs we have for young people, as well as the adults supporting them in transitioning. As a part of includes larger mission, Youth and Transition Services is aimed at empowering our youth to build self-advocacy skills, as well as their knowledge of and exposure to life skills. We believe in youth-centered guidance, supporting a young person on their journey to becoming independent and more able. Include NYC's Youth and Transition Services provides programs that are youth-facing, and we have one that is especially for professionals. All of our programs are operating remotely via Zoom at this time, and content and activities for workshops have been adapted to accommodate this platform. I'm going to share briefly with you about our Career Launch program. I realize there are many parents in the audience, but there may very well be professionals who fit the profile for our Career Launch program. So I'll briefly tell you about it. It is an initiative that was begun by Include NYC that is meant for professionals in workforce development and job readiness. It is centered around providing professional development and technical assistance to them. The goal ultimately is to support greater success for the young adults with disabilities who participate in these programs by helping the staff to understand and implement more inclusive practices and person-centered outcomes. So here, we are not directly targeting the youth. We're working through the adults that are supporting the youth in work readiness and job placement programs and trying to help them to better support the youth with disabilities that they encounter. An organization can sign up to have Career Launch delivered for staff-wide development, or professionals can attend individually when the series is offered to the public. And we actually have a 3-part series that is coming up in April. The dates are April 6, 13, and 20. Again, I will also include that information for you in the follow-up email that you will receive. Trainings are provided at no cost. whether you're participating as an organization or as an individual. Any professional who's interested in finding out more about this program, you'll receive information on our email, as well as an interest form that can be filled out if you are wanting to make a specific inquiry or find out more. Next, we have high school launch. For any parents in the audience, any school staff that's in the audience, I'm going to suggest strongly that you start leaning in right now, because the next few programs I'm speaking about are specifically for you in supporting young people with disabilities. Include NYC's high school launch program takes place in a select number of partner high schools throughout New York City. This program provides an opportunity for young people with disabilities in 9th or 10th grade to strengthen their self-advocacy skills, increase their understanding of disability rights, and explore post-secondary supports in a small group setting. Through 6 workshops, students have the opportunity to talk about stigma around people with disabilities and get to know their own strengths and learning styles. They also have the opportunity to increase their understanding of disability rights as a high school student and beyond. They also have the opportunity for a one-to-one in-depth discussion about their IEP and prepare to meaningfully participate in their annual meeting by developing their very own PowerPoint presentation. We have high schoolers that leave high school launch after the 6 sessions with a planned presentation that they can use to share at their upcoming IEP meeting. They also have the opportunity to explore post-secondary options as well as supports. The program also offers a parent workshop, professional development workshop for the school staff, and we always have ongoing support for any of our partners through our Project Possibility program, which I will speak about next, and our helpline. We also are always sharing information about our upcoming workshops. If you are school staff that is interested in high school launch, there's an interest form that you can fill out. There's also an email that you can contact directly with any questions. Both of these forms can be accessed via our website. You will also receive information on the links in the follow-up email. If you are a parent and you're sitting there like, I don't work in a school, but this sounds great and I wish my kid could have a part in it, it's very possible. Contact your principal, speak to a teacher at school, find the special ed coordinator, someone in there, let them know that you found out about this program and share the information that you are hearing tonight. And you can give them our website or the links that you're going to receive tomorrow with the interest form and email. Next up, we have Project Possibility. This is another one of our youth-facing programs. It is an intensive direct support program that aims to help young people with disabilities who are seeking assistance in reaching post-secondary goals in education or employment. This program enables young people to take concrete steps toward a more meaningful adult life by providing them with a guided support in creating a meaningful and realistic post-secondary plan that identifies actionable steps toward their goals, one-on-one coaching to support self-determination and guide their process, and also support in identifying and navigating systems and or programs that will support their success, such as Access VR, which you heard Jonathan mention, or OPWDD. Those are examples of programs that we support them in navigating. Participants in Project Possibility can also expect to receive assistance in exploring their strengths, interests, and skills in order to identify a goal, creating a realistic plan that reflects their strengths, values, and preferences. We also take into account personal circumstances or unique circumstances such as finance, family, community, culture, what resources are available to the young person. They can also expect to receive assistance connecting with resources, benefits, and or programs that support their goals. This includes providing assistance as needed with completing applications and preparing for interviews. So for example, with Access VR, we have supported young people in preparing for their interview, completing the application. Same with OPWDD, SSI, SSDI, public benefits. Applying for college accommodations, connecting to job training programs or college support programs, applying for Medicaid, mental health support, connecting with mental health support, or applying for health insurance programs. They can also, expect to receive assistance with skill building through our one-to-one counseling and through group workshops that are better known as our Bridges program, which I will speak about next. And it covers a variety of topics that support individual growth and development. Young people can be connected to Project Possibility by submitting a referral that is found on our website. You will also receive a link to the referral form in tomorrow's email. There is no set schedule for Project Possibility. You notice you didn't hear me tell you it meets X number of times a week at a certain time. It is a very individualized program. The frequency and timing of meetings is decided between the young person and their assigned Include NYC staff based on what best fits their needs. Referrals can be submitted directly by a young person. It can be submitted by family members or professional support people, such as teachers or counselors. In the follow-up information, you will receive an overview of Project Possibility that will clearly outline eligibility for the program. And you will also receive the email address for Project Possibility, as well as a link to our referral form. So please look out for that. And finally, we have our Bridges program, which really is an extension of Project Possibility. And it's a series of 12 workshops that are designed to help young people to develop communication, organization, and other life skills that we find vital to post-secondary success. Project Possibility youth work with their educators who are Include NYC staff on identifying areas of growth to be sure that they are in support of or match with their post-secondary goals. And they also engage in one-to-one review of workshop curriculum so that they can actually practice skills and have opportunities to socialize with peers. Some of our workshops include professional networking, financial literacy, professional email writing, healthy living, Google Suite, and self-advocacy. Here at Include, in addition to all of our programs and services, we also have 3 main annual events, community events that occur. The first being our Include NYC Fair, which just passed in January. It is a disability resource fair and is typically held in the month of January. We also have our Outdoors for Autism, which is an outdoor event with sensory-friendly activities for kids on the spectrum. This event is usually held in June, so please keep an eye out for more information, or you are always welcome to call our helpline. I will pass that information along to you a little later on in this presentation with our contact number. We also have College is Possible, which happens around the end of October annually, and is an event that helps youth with disabilities to consider college as a real option, and also learn about the process and supports to help them get in and through college. We are always hosting workshops on transition topics, among other topics at Include. Since you are here this evening, you have an interest in transition, I am sharing with you our lineup for the next month, which includes Turning 18, Rights, Benefits, and Planning. We'll also have a workshop on college access for students with disabilities, as well as Working While Receiving SSI. You can see here dates and times are listed. This is also information that I will include in the follow-up email. I keep mentioning this follow-up email. You better asterisk and save this email. It's going to have a lot of good stuff in there. I will be sure to include this for you. And you should also know that you can access our calendar via our website, which will also be in that follow-up email. And speaking of our website, if you haven't already done so, I encourage you to visit our new and improved website, includenyc.org, where you can find all of the resources that I have spoken about and referenced during this workshop presentation. You also have the opportunity to explore some of our new features that are on the website, such as the My Profile, which allows you to create a profile and bookmark your favorite resources, which is always great. Share with Friends allows you to tweet or share resources and events directly from the website. News, where you can go to our announcement bar and find breaking special education news, resources, and events. And our Get Involved section that has the latest calls to action and how to get involved with Include NYC. In addition to our website, you can also contact us via our helpline, which operates Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you are unable to reach out during those hours, no worries. You can call and always leave a message. The main number is 212-677-4660. If you are a Spanish speaker, you may call 212-677-4668. I'm going to say those two numbers one more time. Our main line is 212-677-4660. Any Spanish speakers, please call 212-677-4668. 4668. You can also find additional resources, digital resources on our website and our YouTube channel. You can also stay in touch with us and subscribe to our weekly navigator for news and resources, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is @IncludeNYC or @IncluyeNYC, which is our social media channel in Spanish. Again, I will share with you, you will have this same information regarding our helpline and contact shared in the follow-up email. And last but not least, the tip sheets I shared earlier, they are linked here for you. They will be included as links for you in the follow-up email that you will receive. I want to say thank you to all of you for your time and interest. I hope you take advantage of all of these resources that are available to you, so that you can make an informed and more successful transition for your young person.
If I was off of mute. Thank you so much for the presentation, and thank you for everyone. Now is a chance for you all to type in your questions into the Q&A, and we have about 20 minutes with folks from Include. Jonathan, is there anything you want to add before we go into Q&As?
So I just wanted to thank Ebony for her partnership. We do work very closely with Include NYC, and Ebony is such an important part of our partnerships with TCAC. So I just wanted to thank her. And also, again, if you have any questions, now will be the time to ask. If not, that's okay too. We are here at TCAC. You guys can contact us, and you can contact Include NYC with any other follow-up questions you may have as well. Thank you.
So here's a great question that I'm going to ask for both TCACs and for Include NYC. Can families just walk into your offices, or do they have to call? What is that like? We'll start with the TCACs.
Sure, absolutely. TCACs, you can, so it is a little weird world we're living in, but thank God the COVID is going down. But you can walk in. You don't have to make an appointment. You can walk in, and we are open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If not, I know our teams do stay after 5 p.m. So we're a customer service oriented organization. So please just stop in, and we are happy to assist in any way that we can.
Thanks, Jonathan. Ebony, what about for Include NYC?
Sure. For Include NYC, the best way to get in touch is to start with our helpline. So you can give the helpline a call, and they can connect you with a specialist to address your question or situation that may come up. And from there, you get guidance on any next steps that can be taken.
Ebony, in the chat, there's a question about the autism event. What age group is the outdoor for autism event for?
It is open to everyone.
Great. So that's all ages. All right. So let's see. Can you please briefly explain how to help a high schooler to participate in his IEP meetings? Jonathan, I'm going to kick that one to you first.
Sure, absolutely. So, so we do have self-advocacy and self-determination. professional developments that we do with teachers, but at the student level as well. So I would suggest that that well, as a first step, to review self-advocacy skills with your child, but also, just to remember that you're not in this alone. So please contact us at TCAC, and we'll be happy to do a one-on-one transition consultancy with your child, with any student, and we can go over self-advocacy and self-determination in preparation for IEP meetings.
Great. Ebony or Jane, anything y'all want to add to that?
Sure, I would say that, it's in brief. Ideally, a young person participating in the IEP meeting means that they should have some sense of what their strengths are, where they feel they need support, the direction that they think they would like to go in as far as when they leave high school, so that plans can be made in their IEP around transitioning to actually support them moving in that direction. And I would say if your young person needs help with that, you should absolutely reach out to the school. Please call Include NYC's helpline. You can speak to someone directly and they can offer support more specifically to your circumstance and your young person to give you some guidance on that. But really, it's not an easy thing to do. This is why I am such a huge proponent of our high school launch program, because it really is the beginning of getting a young person positioned to be able to speak for themselves, to find their voice, and be able to advocate and say, these are the things that I would like. Here's what I've learned about myself, and then leave it to the team and be a part of that conversation and figuring out what next steps can be put together and what plan they can come up with that's really going to support them in being able to move forward and transition successfully.
Thank you. Jonathan, this next one's for you. Can you talk a little bit about how the TCAC support families through the application process for Access VR? Are there supports that families can lean on the TCACs for on this?
Yeah, so we absolutely meet with our partners in each of the boroughs with Access VR on a bi-weekly basis. So you can absolutely contact your borough TCAC office, and so ask the questions about Access VR and the application process, and we will be happy to guide you through each of the steps and connect you personally with the Access VR borough point that we work with and that we meet with on a bi-weekly basis.
Ebony, you talked about some programs, and one of the questions in here is about, like, I'm paraphrasing, but how do you know if a program is going to be the right fit without a child experiencing the program in and of itself? Do you have any tips or anything you want to talk about on that end?
That's a great question. I don't know that there is a right answer to that. I think with a lot of the things that we take on, we don't ever really know what the outcomes will be. We're hoping for the best. But part of the process with something, for instance, with our Project Possibility program, there is a referral process and an intake that happens. And part of the purpose behind that is in being able to have a conversation, not just with the parent, but in particular with the young person, to get a sense of what their needs are, what direction they feel they're headed in, to get a real sense of whether or not the program seems like it would be a good fit for them. There is nothing that is binding a young person to any of our programs. So if it turns out that it is not a good fit, it's at will. They can absolutely disconnect, although we always try to find a way to, see what we can do to offer better support or the right support. But I don't know that there is a way to always tell those things at the outset, unless there's something, glaringly obvious that it's, it absolutely under no circumstance could work. But that's such a rare situation. I would always say you should just try. That's the only way you're going to know. It's the same thing I would tell a young person. You can't knock it till you try it. So.
Yeah, totally. Jonathan, so there's an interesting question in here. I know we know that, like, any family could walk into any of the TCAC borough offices and they'll be supported. But what about families who have students with IEPs or IESPs in private schools? Can they access the TCAC centers as well?
So we're definitely a community resource hub. So yes, absolutely. We are open to any students with IEPs. We're here to help the community. So by all means, please visit us.
And so that includes students in charter schools as well, right?
Yes, sir.
It's great. It's great to know. Ebony, what about some of the programs that you talked about? Are they just for kids who go to DOE schools, or can families who have children in private schools or in charter schools also participate?
We have had charter schools that have partnered with us for high school launch in the past. Jane, I don't know if you want to step in for a moment on the private school end.
Hey guys, I was really just in the background doing Ebony's slides today, but I can just throw it in there. But it's nice to join everybody. We are open for all of the services really for any school setting, any public, private, charter, whatever it is, whatever families need.
Great. That's great to hear. And so I think this is going to be an Ebony or Jane question, but can you guys talk us through about how long the intake process takes and what that typically looks like?
So the intake process for Project Possibility generally happens. This depends on. It's not a straight answer of it's just a day or it's just one meeting, because it depends on how involved the conversation is. But generally, the intake process. So there's a referral form that's filled out. It's only a few screens. It's a couple of questions, general questions around pedigree information and getting a sense of what the interest is in the program. Any identified strengths or areas of support for the young person, and what their disability classification is. The intake process that happens if they actually are becoming a part of Project Possibility involves going over in more detail what their experience has been like with school, where they found their strengths, subjects of interest, any extracurricular interests they may have, areas where they felt they struggled a little bit more. It can take anywhere from one meeting to 2, maybe 3, depending on how much gets covered in that time. But really the idea behind the intake is really to take a deeper dive really into the youth, so that we're getting a good sense of the next best step to take with them in terms of providing support, figuring out which path it is that they think they may want to go on. Sometimes we get a youth that is really, they're just not sure. And so part of intake is going to involve going through a few assessments with them to help them figure out whether or not they prefer to go on a college route or pursue employment or vocational training program.
Thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just in case, I think that's probably that question was about Project Possibility, I imagine. But for other services like calling the helpline, maybe a family just wants a question about transition services or other organizations, they would call an intake. One of our intake colleagues would set them up with an appointment within a couple of, usually a day or 2, and then they would get an appointment to talk to someone. And that's just a one-time thing. There's no intake extended process for that sort of support. But I'm guessing the question was more about Project Possibility, just adding that in case it wasn't.
Thank you so much, Jane. So Include NYC, great resources for anyone who lives in New York City. But there's a question in here about what if I live just outside of New York City? What if I live in Westchester, or maybe Long Island, or maybe in New Jersey? Where could I find organizations similar to Include NYC that would provide those types of services?
Do you want me to start, Ebony? Is that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
So for Project Possibility, if you live on the outskirts, Ebony's gonna take you, right? I think typically, it really depends. But generally speaking, Include NYC is among the projects that are under our umbrella are federal parent center grants. And so there are federal parent centers that provide information to families in every state. And that's one example where we could refer families who call us and we say, you're in another state, it would probably be more helpful to get much more local kind of support and information, and we would connect people to that. So whether, I think this was referenced earlier, whether we can provide that information directly, we will. And if we can't, then we're going to connect you to someplace that we hope would be able to do that. Ebony, does that sound right? Would you add anything else?
Yeah, no, that is what I would say. Absolutely. I mean, we've had instances where young people have moved partway through their services. It has not, that has not been the mark of terminating time with them. If the time has ended, it's because they are relocating in full to a completely different state, hours away. It's not that they moved to Westchester and we say, no, can't work with you anymore. So we're still here to support, even on the outskirts of, if you move in and you're still reachable and can get in contact and access us, yes, we're still here.
Great. There's a question in here about the text hotline you all mentioned. Is that when folks text that hotline, does that connect someone to an Include NYC staff person, or is it an automated feature or tool?
Referring to the helpline phone numbers I provided?
Yeah, there's a question in here that's about specifically about texting the hotline, and maybe
Oh, yes.
who was heard.
Right, there is a text option. So the question is whether or not they're texting a human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jane, is it a human? I would
Well,
imagine.
it's always a human, but maybe not live.
I think it's a human.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it may not be entered live, right? It may
Right,
be that
in that
somebody
moment.
is going to register that text and then reach out.
So it might not be instantaneous, right?
It's
It might-
not an
Instantaneous,
instant
exactly,
virtual
not a simultaneous kind of, yes.
Right.
Got it. Great. Jane, Ebony, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us. We're pretty much at time, and I want to just thank you for all the information that you've shared. It's been great for our families, and love to have you back at some point to talk a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks. So that we're wrapping up tonight. Thank you again for joining. For those of you who joined at 7 o'clock, just for those of you who joined a little later, that's the new time every week, 7 o'clock Tuesday nights. We'll be here. We'll be hosting workshops. Next week, we're going to start our disability awareness / pride series, and we're going to be joined by folks from the Cerebral Palsy Foundation. So it's going to be great. Look forward to getting an email from us on that. And before I actually go, Ori, I'm going to ask you to hop on camera, not off camera, just so you can wave and say hello to folks. So you all can put a face and a name to the emails. Those emails are all coming from Ori. He sits very quietly behind the scenes supporting not only those emails, but all of our speakers and making sure that we get presentations and all things in a time at a right time. So I just wanted to say thanks to Ori.
Thank you, Jose. I appreciate that.
All right.
I'm happy to do it.
Well, we're happy to have you. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you all next week. But until then, stay safe. Have a good one.